All right, welcome back, guys. My name is Kanan. I am the coach of the Tulsa Drilburs. Um, Currently, I am in a draft league called Pokemon Battle League, and this is season one of that league. We'll be doing a season two once Crown Tundra comes out. I just wanted to do a breakdown of my team here, what I got, what I like, what I was thinking when I was going through it here. So let's just jump right into it. If you like the video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Lots of draft league coming your way. I'll be playing in two um, concurrent draft leagues here, Pokemon Battle League as well as Chill Draft League. So pretty good content. Um, Hoping to get better at the draft league thing. This is my first shot at it, and so far I've had a great time. So let's get into it here. My first overall pick, I think I was second to last in the draft to make my selection. I took Zacian. Um, the way that this worked out, you had 250 flex points to spend, with tier 1s being 100 points, tier 2s being 75, tier 3s being 50, and tier 4s being 25. And depending on what legend you picked, you got extra points towards that total. You also got, one G Max, one legendary, one tier 1, two tier 2s, two tier 3s, and a tier 4. So going through all those, my first overall pick was my legendary, and I took Zacian. Only got 25 extra points for him, but man, I couldn't pass him up. Super fast, super high attack stat. His ability just immediately raises his attack, which is really good. So, Variant Steel is also a great typing. Hits a lot of things that are meta pretty hard or for neutral. So I think he was a great overall number one pick. I look forward to bringing him probably every game. Secondly, I took on the my back way back around. I took Gmax Rillaboom. Rillaboom was number one in usage during season 5, and it was number one in usage in season 5 for a reason. Um, Took my Gmax slot for that, but basically got a free tier 1 out of it. Um, Grassy Surge is a great ability combined with Grassy Glide. That's obvious. Priority, that's 70 base powers, a lot of damage. Definitely worth the Gmax slot. I think he'll come super in handy against bulky water types, as well as just good reliable damage against a lot of things. Terrain control is also a big deal with things out there like both Indeedis, as well as terrain from Gmax moves. It's just overall it's a good thing to have terrain. Um, my next pick, I actually took Whimsicott, but immediately regretted my decision and traded it for Tyranitar to fill that tier 1 slot. Sandstream, super useful. Control of the weather can always be super helpful. I know there's at least 2 guys out there using Sun, at least 1 using Rain, so this gives me a good shot against those. Tyranitar also gives you a lot of options. Obviously, physical is what you'll normally run because that's where he'll typically do the most damage, but you can run him special if that's what your team calls for that week. You can run multiple items on him: Focus Sash, Weakness Policy, Life Orb, Choice Band, really whatever works for that situation. So great pickup for my tier 1. I don't foresee any reason I don't bring him most weeks as well, unless I'm going against somebody with 2 or 3 fighting types, and I don't think that there was anybody that took more than 1. So definitely a good pick there. So on the wheel back around, immediately I took Excadrill. Tyranitar Excadrill is the best possible core I could hope for, I think. There's a few other things that are probably equally as good, but getting both in a draft is not to be overshadowed, I don't think. Definitely gives me a lot of early pressure. even seeing him in, on my list, when people prepare, they have to prepare for this core. And, knowing that, I can work around it a little bit. He was my first flex spot I took. 100 points, definitely worth everyone. Super fast, 3 good abilities in Mold Breaker, Sand Rush, Sand Force. Be able to hit levitate things with Mold Breaker is super useful. Sand Rush to outspeed things like Dracopult, Cinderace, things like that. And Sand Force to boost damage on weeks I'm fighting slower things. Um, can run multiple different sets. Life Orb, Choice Band, Focus Sash. Pairs so well with the um, Tyranitar, as well as having the Rillaboom to cover him against, water weaknesses. I think can't be understated. I think having Excadrill Tyranitar gives me a great chance here. Next, I decided I wanted some Tailwind support since I dumped Whimsicott. So I used my Tier 2 pick to pick up Noivern. One of the faster Pokemon out there in general. Frisk is a great ability. Scout out items, try to get an idea of what your opponent's doing. Super fast Tailwind user. If I'm not mistaken, he's the fastest Tailwind user that doesn't have Prankster. And he's got decent special attack too. You can run multiple different sets on him. You can run Life Orb, you can run Focus Sash, Choice Scarf, whatever to try to get Tailwind up. But I think typically, Dynamaxing him with Life Orb can catch people by surprise and do a lot more damage than people anticipate. Or he's great support with Tailwind, Taunt, things like that. So I think he was a super useful pickup, and glad to have him. Next, I took for my second tier 2 Gastrodon. Gastrodon helps cover my Excadrill and my Tyranitar. Again, water is going to be one of their biggest weaknesses, and not only is Gastrodon bulky enough to take those kinds of hits, Storm Drain is a fantastic ability. Any single target water move, anything from a Dynamax water move to going against Vicious Rend on Dracovish, anything like that. Gastrodon switching in, or even just being on the field or being in team preview scares a lot of that stuff off. So covering my Sand Core here, I think he's going to be super, super impactful in doing so. Look forward to bringing him as some coverage. So next, I could not believe that all the way on pick, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Incineroar was still around. Could not believe that. Best Intimidate user out there. Can run fantastic support moves and is just incredibly bulky, especially once you intimidate something. Will-O-Wisp is the most useful move against physical attackers to go along with the Intimidate. Fake Out, obviously always super useful, and he can do some damage when he needs to. Flare Blitz into most things. Don't want to take that. So combine that with also having things like Snarl, Parting Shot. I couldn't believe he was still around. Wasn't my plan to pick him up at this point, but man, I couldn't turn it down. Too good to not take in the 7th round. Absolutely fantastic for me. Next, I actually ended up taking Luxray, and I'll talk about why I swapped it out later, but I didn't feel like he brought enough to the team to stick around. I already had great Intimidate. I already had another Electric type in Magneton for my next pick, so I traded the Luxray for the Hitmonlee. His synergy with the Rillaboom is really solid because you can run Grassy Seed on him, doubles his speed, which is already not bad, and he's got fairly high attack, has Fake Out, can run Wide Guard, other things like that. Just all around a pretty useful Pokemon. I don't know how often I'll actually bring him, but I definitely think he was worth the pickup. I've always liked Hitmonlee. Really liked all 3 of them, but Hitmonlee's always been my favorite, so couldn't pass up an opportunity to run him when I have synergy for him. So next, I took my Tier 4 slot, which was Magneton. Absolute steal at Tier 4. Magneton, I think, is easily Tier 3. I think he's very underranked here. He's got the sturdy ability. He's got 120 special attack for a tier 4 that can run EVO Light, which already has good special defense and defense. I mean, this thing's going to be hard to knock out. Speed mid tier at 70, but man, the 120 special attack combined with EVO Light, great pickup for me. Super excited for this. I actually dropped Luxray because I picked this up. I mean, there was no real need for uh, Rillaboom and Luxray and Magneton. So swapping the Luxray out for something that I didn't have type coverage for, I thought was a really good move. So super happy about getting Magneton. I don't think I can understate how good he is for a tier 4. So next, picked up Mr. Rhyme. I think Mr. Rhyme is pretty underrated, honestly. For a tier 3, he gets fake out. His ability Screen Cleaner is super, super useful, especially because, I'm going to play Gmax Lapras. I'm going to play Grimmsnarl. I'm going to play Prankster, Meowstic, things like that. Mr. Rhyme is huge in those situations. He can also put up screens of his own. He can run Trick Room. He's got a lot of good options. Ice Shard for priority to help break sashes. I just think he was a great pickup. There's argument for doing Mime over Rhyme, but man, the special attack stat on Mr. Rhyme is actually pretty good at 110, and he has Freeze Dry. So he helps me cover the waters again, which are going to be the weaknesses of my core. So this helps me get around that. Plus, like I said, fake outs always useful. So I think he's a little bit slept on. I definitely intend to bring him in situations that call for it. I think that he's a good Pokemon. Um, Next, I actually had picked up Aromatisse. This was another trade I made. I picked up Aromatisse to be my Trick Room setter because he's super slow. Good utility with stuff like healing and ally switch and stuff like that. But then I got to looking, and honestly, he's not as bulky as I'd want him to be. But Claydol was still available, and Claydol's super bulky. He's got good ability to be able to avoid, ground type attacks, and most importantly, he gets both Trick Room and Imprison. That was the biggest thing I was disappointed that I didn't have on my team with my other two Trick Room users. Neither one of them could run Imprison, and as fast as my team is, I don't foresee myself wanting to go Trick Room very often. I've got some things like Rillaboom and Gastrodon and Ensign that'll play well in Trick Room, but I don't see myself bringing it unless, depending on what the opponent has. But this way I have Imprison to deny their Trick Room. He's got 120 special defense, 110 defense. I mean, he's super bulky. I think he's a good choice. Again, he's my Trick Room option. I don't know how often I'll bring him outside of the core, but, I think he's worth having. And finally, my last pick, my tier 4 pick. There wasn't a ton left that I really wanted, to be completely honest. But I was very interested in Vespiquen. Vespiquen's got super high defense and special defense and really low speed. Ability is kind of hit or miss. A nerve can be good in certain situations, but I don't know. We'll see what I can do with Vespiquen. 90 special attack, 90 regular attack aren't terrible, and like I said, defenses are crazy high. So we'll see. I've got some plans that I can try with him, running him in Trick Room, things like that. So we'll see what we do with Vespiquen, but I thought it was an interesting pickup. I don't hate it. Definitely don't think there's anything I'd want to drop it for. So I think my draft overall was rounded out well by having an extra bug and flying type. So overall, that's the team. Zacian, Rillaboom, Tyranitar, Excadrill, Noivern, Gastrodon, Incineroar, Hitmonlee, Magneton, Mr. Rhyme, Claydol, and Vespiquen. Obviously, I'm a little top heavy on my draft here. Zacian, Rillaboom, Tyranitar, Excadrill, Incineroar, all really, really, really strong picks that have really good synergy with each other. They cover each other's weaknesses well. And really, I mean, you're going to have to build specifically to beat it. So we'll see what we end up doing week to week. But I like my chances. I like my draft, and I think it's going to be a fun season. Lots of good other players here. Never played in a Battle of Legends style draft, or even looked at a Battle of Legends style draft here. So was a little surprised when that's what I found myself in, but super happy to be here, super happy to have the team, um, and being able to play Zacian is actually really fun. So, thanks for coming out, checking out what we've got going on here. I'll have videos coming up every week as my matches play out, as well as team builders. And like I said, I've got another draft rolling out on October 15th. I'll be doing another video like this, as well as team builders and battle videos for each one of those two. So come out, take a look at what I've got going on. Appreciate y'all giving me the time of day. If you like me, subscribe, give me a like on the video. Really helps me out. We're just trying to get the channel off the ground here, and hopefully some people enjoy my content. So thanks a lot, guys. As always, have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.